Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. This is from the desk of the editor, and I'm going to pitch it right over to the managing editor right now. Good evening to you, Miss West. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful.
See,
Wonderful.
I caught you still doing business while you're
I know.
here for the
Can't
radio
help it.
show.
Can't
But
help
but
it.
but that's okay. That's okay. That's what we do. We want to make sure that everything that we are a part of is getting the word out. So work never stops for you. For you, if you are in the news business, telling the true story of what's happening in communities as well as the
Exactly.
world.
No,
So
it
good
does
evening
not.
to you.
Good evening. Good evening.
So tell me, um,
Oh, bless you.
excuse me. Um, uh, you are a sight and a pleasant sight. You know, normally I have this guy over there
I
by the name
know.
of Dr. Warren. He is not with us today, but you are in his stead and doing great work at the San Diego Voice and Viewpoint. So let's just kick it off today, and let me just start off by saying, what's the hot topic? What is going on?
Oh my goodness. There's so much, right? Which to choose from. I would just say Christmas in the holiday spirit for one thing, right? And we've
Mm-hmm.
got some wonderful things, exciting things coming up. We've got our Martin Luther King special that's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Warren is going to be a keynote speaker at the YMCA's Human Dignity Awards in January.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least is the gala. We have our gala coming up February 13th. So lots of exciting things happening, all kicking off right now with the Christmas spirit and Christmas. I can't wait till that big day next week. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Well, in actuality, Christmas I always say are for the children, and so I'm ready to celebrate the children. For me, it becomes a day of rest, a day of reflection, and a day of thankfulness because the reality comes in is that we're celebrating the birth of Christ.
Absolutely.
And so, our last big event is with Dr. Carol and
Mm.
her big toy giveaway, food giveaway, as well as utensil giveaways. And so we're very excited about that. We do that on Christmas Eve, and then we shut it down all the way to New Year's.
Ah, wonderful. Yeah. Well, we publish every week, so
Hmm.
we're always going to have that paper on the newsstands. We're an adjudicated paper, so 52 weeks out of the year. So
Hmm.
definitely expect to see on Christmas Day the paper on the newsstands and online for all of you listening. But as you said, celebrating Christ's birth, and it's definitely special for me this year, just as a I can't say a new Christian, but renewing my walk and
Hmm.
getting deeper into my walk. It really means a lot to me, and I'm sure for many of you listening. So special day. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and one of the things about it is that we always ask the reason for the season, but
Hmm.
this has been a really tough year.
Yes, it has.
We
Yes, it
have
has.
experienced a lot of loss this year. A lot of greats have left us, and so as we're nearing to that new year, is this a really a time of reflection, a time to be thankful, and a time to know that we are blessed to even yet be here.
Hmm.
But in moving forth, looking at how we can then manage and grow and thrive in basically an economy and a society that is changing and moving so far away from the love and the respect of what Christianity and Jesus Christ was all about.
Hmm.
And for that must say for most religions
Yeah.
that are all about, we are living in a time, they said in the last days perilous times will come, meaning dangerous times will come, and we're in these real dangerous times because there it seems to be no filter anymore. And even when your chief of staff says the key word that is like dealing with an alcoholic behavior.
Yeah, you're talking about the person who will not be named, the person who's currently occupying the White House. That's who
Yeah.
you're referring to, and their chief of staff. I don't honestly believe what she's saying. I feel I'm very skeptical and suspicious of what has come out in the news about some of her comments with one of the interviews that she conducted, because I'm thinking, okay, what's the angle there? What are you trying to make us believe here? Maybe it's just a counterpoint to help people to not feel so panicked about what's
Hmm.
happening. And I think you have to be really intentional about your news consumption, especially when it comes to that person who currently occupies the White House, and keep your perspective. And I think remembering the season, but also what really matters, which is love, family, all of that can keep you grounded
Yeah.
and know that this is a temporary thing. But I think also for me, what I get a lot of, I don't know what the word is, but I just get a lot of hope is in our resiliency, because we are a very resilient people. If you think about all the things that we've accomplished since we have been on these shores, and all that we can learn, as I keep saying, from our ancestors and the people that came before us when things are rough now, very rough, but they were way rough back in the day, many years. So,
let me say this, because I think that you tapped on something that we went past, and I wanted to just jump back on it, and that is, what is the angle for this current news media, this current release? Because we have known that currently the administration, when you speak against or say anything against, you become public enemy number one.
Sure.
And he literally calls for the death sentence for you.
Yeah.
And so in this case, he's laughed. He's talked about she's a wonderful person. So you begin to wonder, what angle are they coming from? What twist are they trying to achieve? Because it's not their normal twist or their normal turn.
Exactly.
And so those are good questions that we have to do. And literally, when we begin to consume any type of information, we have to look at it from the point of real, true, or imagined. Yeah. Or what's the spin?
Right. And also seeing what you're looking at is what I always say. Because actions speak, well, in this case, actions and words matter with this particular person, but also the people around him and his administration and all those who seem to think that he's this great person who's going to bring in this golden age and whatnot. But I feel that it doesn't, in the end, we just have to stay the course. We have to stay the course. We have to be aware of what this person and others who support him are saying and doing, but understand which politicians, which people are really going to pursue our interests and stand up for our interests, and make sure that we are voting, because that's our last defense, right?
Yeah.
Even as they are continually, since the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act got passed, slowly but surely stripping it away, being aware we still can vote. We are in a country that is a democracy, and we can vote. And if we are involved in that process, we can create change. But not only there at the voting booth, but also economically, because clearly they're out for us, I feel. It's like, as I said, I've said this before, when I was in college, hearing the phrase, the struggle continues, I was like, what struggle? What do you mean? We've come so far. What do you mean? But now I get it, right? Because it never ends, unfortunately, and that's not wine and cheese. Oh, woe is us. But it's just being aware of what the reality is and making sure that we are supporting each other.
Well, it's the thing about when you give so much and you have contributed so much, and you have literally become the foundation and part of the fabric of what is called America.
Exactly.
It is very disheartening to always seem like you're consistently in a fight, consistently trying to prove your worth, consistently saying that this is important. So, we can then give Donald Trump, holiday day rates and make him parking free. Yeah, you're right. That guy up there, but yet and still he wants to get rid of the MLK holiday. He wants to get rid of Juneteenth. And all these different things, and it's literally a attack on the very being of who we are.
And it's important to know that it's an attack and be clear-eyed about that, definitely. Even down to, changing the classification of the nursing professions. I mean, my goodness, that's like a sucker punch to our economic stability for Black females, the Black family, et cetera, et cetera. However, I keep saying this, we've gotten through these times. Can you imagine in the 1800s being a Black person who could at any moment, whether you're in the South or the North, if you're a free Black person, being subjected to being taken and being put into slavery? We don't have that right now, thank God. So think about what we've overcome. So the blueprint is already there. So that gives me hope and resilience because I already know what to do. It's already been shown, and I can gain sustenance and strength from the people who have come before us who have overcome these things. And we are, I always say, Black people, we are the heart. We're as American as apple pie, no matter what anybody says, because we have helped shape this country like no other group. So there's a lot to have, and you know, we're part of the fight. There's some people who wanted to say, well, forget it, I'm leaving the country. Great, wonderful, but we've worked too hard to make this country what it is. And, you know, let's hold the line.
You know, I think that we should write a book called The Chitlin Chronicles. You know, and the Chitlin Chronicles is something that's just simply that we took your throwaway and we made it a meal.
Thank you.
We took things that you didn't want, from pig feet to all the other things that you threw away and did not think that it could be sustain anybody because it was not yours. And we then turned it into meat and we turned it into food so that we can thrive and grow. So, you know, I think that, you know, when I say the Chitlin Chronicles is really being able to say that for every trial that we've gone through, we've always come and took from nothing or took the less or took your throwaways. You know what I'm saying? And still became doctors and lawyers and professors and teachers and nurses and, you know, and all of these great things, even though you gave us stuff that was supposed to kill us.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So there's going back, if you know your history, if you don't know, go and find out your history. We have a Today in Black History every Thursday, and we put it online as well. So those are little tidbits of things for you to remember and see all that we have done, all that we've contributed to. When in my former life as an actress, I went, I was a part of a tour, a regional tour in the Pacific Northwest, and we did a play called 1001 Black Inventions. So many things that we have done, so many that have made this country better. And we are the soul of this country. We are the ones that require the country and remind the country of the promise of how we were founded. We're the ones that say, okay, wait a minute, hold up. Freedom. Well, freedom for who? Let's fight for freedom for everyone. And we've made, slowly but surely, this country a better country because of it. And this person and these people who are trying to turn the clock back, oh, no. We're not going to allow that to happen. That's how I'm choosing to see it. It can be disheartening. It can, because it's like, well, goodness grief, what else? And we know that, unfortunately, there are people in this country who just have some kind of insane thing going on when it comes to us, because we're that. We even might talk about DEI. They're talking about us, Black people. That's who they mean. Yeah. It could be other people of color, but we're the primary.
Well, we're the target because anytime that you mix with us, we literally change the whole DNA.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? You could be lily white, you could be Latino, you could be Asian, your hair could be straight as a bone. But the minute you mix with an African American, all of a sudden that hair get a little bit kinkier, a little bit curlier, and everything else. The skin color changes, and you can't deny 98% of the time that you have African American or Black blood in you. So we are the what I call the special sauce that nobody can hide. See, I can't get up in the morning and choose to hide my Blackness.
Right.
You know. Whereas other people can choose to hide their cultural group by just the way they dress, the way they talk, because they got the straight hair. If you got the light skin and on, you can literally hide it. It doesn't make it right or wrong, but what I'm saying is that when we walk out the door, we are identified. We can't hide it.
That's right.
And so many other people can't hide it.
Right.
And so when they say, well, it's just history, well, that would be different if it wasn't just telling his story. You know what I'm saying? If we're only telling his story or your story, but we're not telling history in the fullness of it all. Now, some people will say, well, everybody sees history differently. You know, whereas the white plantation owners were saying that they brought civilization and being civilized to Africans.
And they did us a favor by bringing us here.
And they educated us.
Right.
And they taught us English. And they did all of this stuff for us. So we should be happy that they taught us a craft.
Yeah, and they say that with a straight face, don't they?
Yeah. And so we have to really look at how that mindset sits and then go back to saying, well, they taught us a craft because it was something they didn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
And also, I'm not sure that they taught us a craft. We brought these skills with us and probably did it better in some instances. That's what
Exactly.
I see.
Exactly. But and I'm agreeing with you with that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I'm saying. Jobs that they didn't want to do, they
Yeah.
wanted Africans to do. People
Absolutely.
don't know that they tried Chinese, they tried the Native Americans, and they couldn't hold up to the work schedule. They were dying off because it was just too strenuous. But now we have to ask ourselves the question. Now there's jobs that we don't want to do. And then we get mad when other people want to come and they want to do the work and they have no problem with the work. So we have to be at all points, we have to be actively engaged, because when we think that they're not coming for us, they come for other people, eventually we're going to look up and ICE is going to be coming for everybody that look like us.
Well, that's why I said, and as you know, when it started, what was January 20th, when he did all those executive orders, and signing, this person who currently occupies the White House, DEI, we knew, every black person in America knew that he was talking about us, not just any people of color, but we were at the top of that list. So it's kind of like a backhanded compliment, because clearly certain people feel threatened. Not everybody, but certain people feel threatened by who we are and what we've done and what we've accomplished. So I choose to look at it. It can be challenging, because every time I hear that person's name, listen to the voice, it's like I got to take some deep breaths and prepare myself mentally to be able to process what's coming out of the mouth. But,
I think the biggest thing that, if I was to say to America, what they have to be mindful of is the diversion. I believe everything that we're hearing, we're seeing, are diversions to take us away from the true agenda that they have. The true agenda that they have is literally grab as much as we can while we're in power, make as many deals as we can while we're in power. So in the end, we will be so rich that we won't even care about what happens to America, because we will be in Dubai. We'll be in all these different nations, because we've already made the deals, because we got the keys.
Yeah,
And
but the thing about it is that it goes beyond just what's happening right now. This is a plan that's been in place. When we learned about Project 2025, because they put it out there, no shame, which is what Kamala Harris said. She's surprised that they just put it out there like that. But that just shows how confident they seem to be, right? Because this has been something that's gone on prior to Project 2025. It goes back even further. And some historians, political historians, say that it really started back in World War II, when Franklin Delano Roosevelt brought all these government programs in after World War II, Social Security and all these other support systems, which weren't for us, but we benefited from them. And it's been a slow agenda to peel back all of these resources for the common person, let alone the African American person. So it's something that's been in place for quite some time. And then even with the advancements that we've had, they've targeted it. And it's unfortunate that, and this is where I believe and I know that the black press and black media are very, very important, because we put context behind all of these things that are happening as they occur. I was I was at the office today, and I was complaining because I was reading an article by a publication who will not be named, a newspaper here, and they were reporting on a story about the college area versus Claremont. And this new city plan that's been in place, like a blueprint for development, and how disproportionately the college area is where a lot of the development will be versus in Claremont. And if you read the article, it didn't deal with the between the lines story, which has to do with way more than just, some people like it, some people don't. The black press can take that same story and add context to it and say, okay, well, where are these people located? What's the population in the college area versus the Claremont area? And why are the people in Claremont so happy about not having as much development? Because it won't impact them negatively. They'll still have their nice neighborhoods and not all this crowding. with all the resources that they happen to have as opposed to. So these are the things that the Black press and Black media can provide
Yeah.
to be able to say, hey, and go deeper into the story.
And again, with development, we're looking for infrastructures, more parks,
Right.
widening of the roads,
Exactly.
and everything else of that nature, and that's not happening. And so what we're seeing is an impact, but now you're having more traffic, more delays, more trouble because, again, they did not do the infrastructure to add all that. And then with these bike lanes.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about you, but they're spending millions and millions of dollars creating these bike lanes and barriers and everything else of that nature. I want to ask you a real quick question. You know, I know that you're conscious. You went to UC Berkeley, go Golden Bears, you know.
Yeah.
Now, when we was in college, we might have rode a bike or two. But how many bikes are you going to ride in today's society?
Yeah, especially with a lot of traffic around, right? Who wants to put themselves in danger like that? Yeah, not much. But, you know, I don't know, Dr. Thompson. I just think if people understand what's really going on, you know, who's really being impacted, and asking those questions and answering them as we cover these topics and making people aware of what's really going on. Like when you read Dr. Warren's editorials, he lays it down. He just puts it out there because it makes you think. But if you have for lack of a better term, a white bread kind of reportage, your mind isn't even going to the other side of the story. So I think it's just about understanding what the issues are. Yes, it's not sexy all the time. Sometimes it's like, well, I really just want to go and watch my YouTube channel or my Instagram. But these are things that affect us day to day.
Now, I want to drop a dime on you that I already know you know. But, you know, we used to have multiple stations here in San Diego, you know, and then KUSI and Fox joined, and now they're owned by one company.
Right.
And now CBS
Yes.
is now owned by Fox, KUSI, and so now we have 3 of our major stations. So what's left is 7 and 10, you know. But the other 3 stations are all one. Matter of fact, KUSI and Fox are in the same building. You know what I'm saying? So it seems like, again, the story and the content is starting to be closed.
Well, that's by design.
Yeah.
It's by design. And even the person whose name we will not mention, who occupies the White House right now, has purchased, not in our area, I believe it's in the Midwest, the Midwest, a slew of stations. There's a reason that the press has been attacked. There's a reason. So that's why we need to fight to make sure that we keep that fourth estate, as they call it, so that that truth can break through, so that people understand what's really going on. So considering the source, that's so important. And a lot of times, you know, how many times have you read something and you're not necessarily looking at who the author is or who, what outlet is coming from? And that's getting even more challenging with social media, right? And all these snippets of stories here and there and things that aren't even true stories or AI stuff that was just put together. I mean, another publication whose name will not be mentioned, putting an AI image on a news story, it's like, okay, that's interesting.
Or a whole new station that's all AI.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that as we begin to move out of 2025, we're not finished with it yet. You know what I'm saying? There's so much more that's going to happen. But one of the biggest issues this year was healthcare.
Yes.
Now, disproportionately, if we lose healthcare, you know, or a quote unquote the Healthy Care Act, I think it's called, not what they keep calling it, but you know.
Just lost my blank. American, the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah, the Affordable Care Act. If we lose that, how many people will then be put in poverty and at the same point likely to lose house and everything else trying just to stay with their health care?
Well, the interesting part about that is, you know, and you can't, that's why you have to make sure you understand the backstory, right? Because if you look at the news and these little snippets of these conservative people on the right who want to say how much Americans are going to save by getting rid of these subsidies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. a lot of them never wanted it to succeed in the first place. When Obama cares, because he cares, that's the other name for the Affordable Care Act, first put it into place, there were a slew of Republican red states who did not even want to make sure that their citizens were taken care of and buying into the system and making sure it worked. But those same red states are the ones that are using most of the Affordable Care Act services because they don't have the Medicaid. What do they call it? The Hispanic coverage.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So thank goodness. I'm so thankful that I'm Californian because California made sure that they were ready once that bill was passed and the law was passed to make sure that our citizens. So, but there's the whole backstory. So there's a reason why it has not been as successful as it could have been. And all of these people who are against it, most of their constituents are the ones that are going to be negatively affected. It's
Exactly.
it's like, do you understand what's happening, people?
Yeah, and that's the same thing with the person that's occupying the White House right now. The people that he promised so much to, now they're realizing that all the promises was what they call fool's gold, and that they're worse off now than they ever became before. And just with the tariffs alone.
Yeah, but to hear him tell it, it's everything's great and wonderful. We're about to reach the golden age, a golden era, and all these things are successful. So that's where the propaganda comes into play.
Right.
And if you don't have any kind of awareness and thinking critically, you're going to believe all that stuff because they're buying the airwaves. They're trying to, make sure that only it's almost, it's like the Twilight Zone almost. But again, and I keep saying, that's where the black media comes into play to make sure that you get the real story. So
let's just talk about the bombing of the so-called drug trafficking boats, and now the blockade on all oil moving in and out. Do you think that he done made so many promises about the oil that he's getting ready to go just take the Venezuelans?
Well, of course. I mean, you can't think anything else based on what he was first. He was trying to go after Greenland, right? Because there's natural resources there. But then apparently he's let that go. They're doing stuff underhanded we don't know about. But yeah, I mean, that has to be the case. But again, you keep trying to draw me into this man. I'm like, yes, there's a lot going on, and it's you got to be aware of what's happening, and we know that it's a ruse. He wants that oil. I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah.
And it's kind of scary because I saw a report that the Venezuelan Navy apparently is starting to escort their ships on the high seas, and that may
escalate everything.
Yeah. So unfortunately,
Yeah.
but we just have to find out who's not voting, but who's running. Find out who's running in 2026. Find out the ones who are going to pursue and defend and represent our interests. Focus there and make sure that you, your friends, your family members, everyone you can talk to is registered and can vote, which makes me think of Jasmine Crockett, because that's such a shining, hopeful story that she's running for the Senate. And one thing, I was listening to one of her interviews, and she was saying that what the Democrats need, and not just the Democrats, but the American people need someone they can feel excited about, because that's going to get, unfortunately, it's the way it is. Just like Obama was very inspiring for people on across both aisles, all racial, all demographics. That's what's needed. Name recognition, but also someone that excites all of those people. In her state, it happens to be like 50% who don't vote, who are registered but are not voting because they're not excited about the candidate. So I feel like that's a shining light. Jasmine Crockett, I was so happy when she decided to run.
Well, let's think about it. We're getting ready to close out the year. Christmas is right around the corner, and then the new year. But in the new year, we go right into the celebration of the MLK holiday, but also celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. What is the newspaper doing to celebrate, again, this wonderful leader that we had as a civil rights leader, but also the clarion call that we have to come with for them to remember the work that has been done and why we have to engage even more now.
Well, we have an annual Martin Luther King special commemorative issue that is out every year, the week of his birthday week, with speeches, a background on his philosophy, his story, his origin story, his achievements. So all of those things keep his memory and what he stood for alive. Because he was about nonviolence, but he was also in the way that he decided to fight for civil rights. He was a powerful man, powerful, and a threat, unfortunately. But we can gain sustenance from the things that he said, and really reading his speeches, taking the time to really sit down and read the message that he was giving us in all of those so famous speeches. So we have excerpts of a letter from a Birmingham jail. I believe this year we'll have I Have a Dream speech, his Nobel Peace Prize speech that he gave in Oslo, Norway, among others. So that's what we do to make sure that his memory and what he stood for stays in the forefront. And it's going to be actually at the on every table at the Human Dignity Awards. And Dr. Warren is another example of someone who makes sure that his message resonates for us here in San Diego.
Yeah, I think that it's so important that we spend time really educating the next generation and the generations after them, because we, just like we say that there's generations and generations of people that are unchurched now, that have never stepped in the foot of a church or anything like that. There are now generations of people that have never read anything about Martin Luther King. They just know that he had a dream.
Yeah.
And most of them don't even know what the dream is about anymore. And many times there's this whole thing about, well, he had a dream. It was over so many years ago. Why are we still talking about his dream? We're living the reality. We're this, we're that. But we're missing on the overall thing of what the dream really looked like.
Sure. And I mean, I think it's just upon all of us, individually, to make sure that young people understand what he stood for and what he meant by that dream. And again, that goes back to understanding our history in this country, understanding our achievements, because there are so many. And once you know our history, we don't need anybody to make us feel like we belong here or that we are worthy or any of that, because we can give it to ourselves. So I think it's incumbent upon every single one of us, especially those of us who know, to make sure others know.
Yeah. And we also, one of the things I think that we miss out on is we hear the speeches, but we never pay attention to as much to the strategies.
Absolutely.
The sacrifices, the strategies, and literally the togetherness, even though I might not like you or I might not rock with you. When we said we were going to do something, we did it as a collective. And because we did it as a collective, it was effective. You can only have change when people come on one accord.
Absolutely.
Because if we're not on one accord, it says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So we can't be one over here and one over there and thinking that we're going to be moving in the same direction. We're really pulling away from each other. Thus, we're in the same position.
Yeah, and that's why, I say always, like I said at the beginning of the hour, that the blueprint, we don't need to figure it out what to do. Because, of course, everybody, I can just speak for myself, January 20th, and seeing all those doggone CEOs from Amazon and Apple even, and all, it's like, what are you doing behind this man at the inauguration? And it's like, whoa, and everything that's happened all year, right? But then it's like, wait a minute. We have the blueprint for how to fight this and how to stem that tide, because there's a lot more of us than there are of them. So, and making sure that the press is still active and alive, because there's a reason they're attacking it. There's a reason, because they don't want the truth to be out there. They don't want people to be thinking and understanding.
Yeah.
So I think as long as we remember, we don't have to figure out what, because it's like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Especially after November 2024. It's like the shock, right? How did this happen? But we regather ourselves and remember, okay, what did we do in the past? It's right there.
And I think one of the things, and I'm going to say this, I know people are going to get upset with me about it, but I'm going to say it anyway. And we got to stop letting the internet and all these different apps dumb us down.
Absolutely.
Because basically all the different programs and everything are dumbing us down. And you know how I could say that? Because some of the things that they have us tied up watching are the most ridiculous things in the world, but people spend hours and hours just being dumbed down. I literally, and I have to say it, because I was guilty of it, I had to turn it off. But watching people eat crab or eat lobster or eat and you'd be like wondering, okay, now how can they afford all of this? That's how I'm looking at it. How can they afford all this? What dipping sauce is that? But basically it literally will consume you before you look up. You don't spend an hour or two looking at nonsense.
And it's by design.
Exactly.
It's by design, because they know, just like with commercials. I mean, if you think about it with TV and commercials, the same thing. I mean, they know, they study human nature and brain science to know how to grab you, right? And what helped me to understand how you had to be careful with social media. It was Facebook when I first got it. And I did not want to get on Facebook. I was like, no, I'm not trying. But I finally relented and created an account. But one day I was just watching a squirrel eat something. And I just sat there watching, laughing. And I was like, what am I doing? Let me turn this off right now. But yes, you're right. We have to be vigilant. But it's, it's like entertainment is the new opiate of the people, right?
Yep, entertainment, and then the desire to make it easy.
Yes.
People think, I'm going to be a content provider, and all I got to do is stay on camera.
Yeah.
But like I explained to people is simply this. The internet, these apps, they are hungry vehicles. And you must feed them daily, sometimes multiple times a day, or they will then go away because they're not being fed.
And they also make sure they want you, like any retailer that says, go to our app, there's a reason so that they can collect that information on you. So you have to definitely look at the privacy settings and make sure you set it so that they can't be following your every move and what you like and what you don't like, so they can keep feeding it to you and sell it to other people.
Well, Big Brother is watching us each and every day, no matter how we look at it. And I just want to say, y'all could raise your hand, chime in, say something. But how many of you guys go and just have a conversation, say, Miss West, I'm thinking about buying an ice maker, just something random. And then all of a sudden, when you're on social media or you're on your email account, all of a sudden the ice makers start coming up.
I know.
I will just venture to say that they're listening.
Yeah.
Your phones are listening. They're no longer a tool that you can just use for information. Now it is a tracking device. It is a listening device. And there's an AI saying, oh, they just mentioned Bluebell ice cream. So we're going to show them where they can order Bluebell ice cream.
And it's just on steroids now, right? With
Exactly.
AI. So yeah, I don't know. That's where you have to make the decision. Are you going to feed into the monster? Are you going to feed into that, or are you going to turn it off? But then what do? We're so used to being distracted. And, you get tired. You come home, you've been working a long day. The last thing you want to do is anything that's going to require anything from your brain, right? You're trying to do something that's going to relax your brain. And that's, what social media can have that can offer that, I guess, because people have it. It's right there, just like TV. But I guess at some point you just have to decide, okay, am I going to continue down this road, or am I going to make a different turn and do something different that's going to feed my brain in a different way, or turn it off and spend more time with your family, read a book, listen to some music, play some music, and not video games. Just,
Exactly.
But, it's just one of those things. What can you say?
And, it's a thing that we're going to continue to educate and then give our children different options. You know what I'm saying? If we give the younger people different options, not just sitting up and listening to music, but going to live concerts, not just looking at things on the internet, but coming to plays and going to symphonies and things of that nature. We have to pull people away from the screen and bring them back to the reality of what it looks like. Not just digitize music, but play music. Learn to play piano.
Right.
Right
Exactly.
now I'm getting ready to buy an instrument for my granddaughter so that she can literally learn an instrument to couple with her talent of singing and writing and everything else. But it's up to us to not just let status quo happen,
Right.
but we have to then take it back to the way we were. And it's like, oh, you got a talent, you got this? Okay, well, let's go and try this and let's go try that until we help them to find their niche.
And even for yourselves, I mean, as adults, as a part of our own self-care and our own expansion as with adult learning, just to keep our own minds sharp and our own interests, feeding our own interests for ourselves as well, for our children and grandchildren and nieces and nephews and all that, but also for us, like we're asking ourselves, well, what is it? What did I like when I was younger? What have I let go in terms of that? I remember I took a class when I was getting my teaching credential, and I had to take an art class. And lo and behold, I didn't even know that I enjoyed painting and drawing. I remember I spent the time just passed as I was doing this particular project that I had to complete. I was in a whole nother world. So things like that. And that's important for us as adults to feed as well. And there's so many resources out there that are free or low cost here in the city where you can pursue those kinds of interests.
Yes, and a lot of people don't know that Dr. Warren is a Renaissance man, but he is also
Yes.
definitely a painter and an
Yeah.
artist. And there's so much that a lot of people just don't know about him. I always said, I wish I could have known Dr. Warren when he was on the Hill.
I
And just to
know.
follow him around and do the documentary on him, because there's just so many stories that I know that we would get out
And
of it.
seeing some of his artwork,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
But did you know that he took tap dancing?
No, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
because I took a tap dancing class, and then he and my mother decided to take him with me. So
Oh,
he
wow.
got his tap. They all got their tap dancing shoes, and we all were trying to tap, 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 tap.
All right.
It didn't last, but
Hey, you tap for a little while. Tap into it, try it,
Right.
tap out of it.
Exactly.
Well, we are close to 3/4 of the way finished with our show, but we could not go this far without talking about the big gala that's coming up.
I know. Watch for it. Watch for it. It's coming, folks, with a lot of details about what's going to be on offer. So I'm just going to tease it for you. It'll be in our paper tomorrow on newsstands, and you'll
Okay.
get a peek at what you can look forward to if you purchase tickets and come to the show on February 13th.
Well, let's just talk about the price of the tickets, because I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, less than $100. I believe it's about $95, and then of course, get them on Eventbrite. So you can go to our website, www.sdvoice.info,
Yeah.
like information, and get that link and check us out.
Well, I know it's going to be a fabulous production, because every year we get together and we use our best resources to make it happen. I know that the food and the service is going to be on point, but this year is a tremendously large, big family affair.
Absolutely,
Which
It
is
a family affair. You're
the
right
Warren
about that.
family, all the kids, all the people are coming back together to make this second to none event.
Absolutely,
And that's
Yeah.
exciting
Very much.
because we're big on family business.
Yes.
And I think that when people come to this gala and they dress up and they put on their tuxes and their long gowns, and like I said, the gala is a sophistication
Yes.
piece.
Yes.
So we're encouraging everybody not to put on your Sunday best, but we want you to put on your gala best.
And it's
We-
so fun to get
Yeah.
dressed up, right?
Yeah, you could go ahead. Y'all don't have to rent a limo. Go order you an Uber Black, XL edition. You know what I'm saying? And roll up in there and walk on the red carpet and just have a wonderful time. But our whole goal is to bring black excellence
Yes.
and black sophistication to galas.
And usher in Black History Month. That's what it's about as well. Every day is Black History at our paper, definitely. But to definitely usher in Black History Month and really focus on, again, our achievements, all the wonderful, amazing things that we have done as a people, not just here, definitely, absolutely here in America, but worldwide.
Yeah. And again, it becomes definitely a who's who of Black society. And what I love about it is who's who from Black society, from the artsy-tartsy all the way down to the community activists.
Absolutely.
And everybody is at home. Everybody is respected. And I think this is the type of energy. And watch this. Most of the time when we do galas, people think only adults. But we need to start bringing our children and our grandchildren and our adult children and literally have them go through the process. Now, I know my grandbaby from day one. When she started coming, I think she might have been 5 years old. When I tell you she was excited about putting on her gown and looking good and coming, and for the first time, she was like, yes, I like that salad. And everybody's like, what? She don't eat salad, but she was tearing up salad.
Yeah.
Because the fact is that it's exposure, exposure, exposure. And so many organizations, like you have your Jack and Jills, you have your debutantes, you have all of these different things. We need to expose all of our children to these type of opportunities. And that's why we have kept the prices low.
Absolutely. Definitely affordable. And, just celebrating the word community is probably overused, but celebrating who we are in San Diego County, the unsung heroes, the pastors who have done so much, all of the service, true people who have truly given back to the community. It's not just about some kind of name recognition. These are people who have done things that have had an impact and that have, not necessarily are not necessarily known, and we're making sure that they get their flowers now.
Yeah. And can I say this one that I'm really excited about?
Ooh, what?
I'm really excited about Miss Terrell.
I
And Mother Terrell, I love to say, "Hey, Miss Terrell," because of the fact that this amazing woman, she literally raised tons of people from the community, and this is not just a regular daycare, but she saw from babies all the way up to teenagers, and literally work with autistic kids and kids that were hard to work with. She literally gave, and she was a member forever for Calvary Baptist Church, 93 years old, or 3 years young, still wise, still snappy. And when I tell you she could bake a pound cake that will make you slap somebody, and when I'm not kidding. Now, we have a family bakery, and we could make some cake. They could make some cakes and everything. But when I tell you that I literally would use her cake to bribe people because that's how good it is. Like, say, you want a cake? Now, this is what I'm going to need. And once they taste it, they be like, okay, what you need?
Yeah.
But she is so unassuming, but her presence is so big in how she serves her community. And that's, I think, what's so amazing about the gala and who we're celebrating, because none of them hollered, look at me, look at me.
That's the thing.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's what's so special about our awards, the gala awards that we do every year, because we're shining that light, not just the awards, but every week, shining a light. So I always say I guess this has become my slogan, celebrating, advocating, those of us who are doing so much in the community. I mean, it's, you're not going to get that everywhere.
And one of the beautiful things about the San Diego Voice and Viewpoint, and even with GOD Radio, is that we invite the community in. Every week, you guys are accepting stories and letters that many times will get published based on, writing to the editor and writing to the publisher and saying, hey, this is what's going on. This is a thought. And here's the beautiful thing about it. And yet, with all the businesses that you're doing and everything that you have to accomplish, you are still opening up training and teaching grounds for interns.
Absolutely, definitely. And we're looking for those young people who have a passion for journalism and storytelling, who definitely have that drive to make a difference and impact the community and celebrate and educate, celebrate, and advocate for the community. So we are definitely we have some interns that we are considering now. Handshake.com is where you can find out more about the internship, and also on our website, www.sdvoice.info, to find out more. So because what we have to offer is you can't even get the kind of training you would get under the tutelage of Dr. Warren in terms of that insight that you just will not get anywhere else, with all of his knowledge from the Hill, here in San Diego, all that he has done and that his late wife has done, this history and foundational stuff, Black history in San Diego, that's what we offer. And it's just exciting to help mentor the next generation.
And one of the things that, we call this on-the-job training.
Absolutely.
And this is the thing that I love about what, we collectively do in bringing interns in, is that they're not just there and saying, okay, this is how you do it. Here's your lesson, write this. That's nice. You get an A. No, when you get an A, you're published.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
When you get an A, you're working a real job.
Yep.
We're literally giving job training that you literally can then move for. I'm using literally a lot, but I'm saying you can really begin to work somewhere.
And professional level that you can take
exactly.
anywhere, or stay with us, ideally stay and grow with us in our news publication. But you can take it anywhere. And I take that very seriously, having been a former educator. I'm all about pouring into the young people and making sure that they have, because people have done it for me.
Yeah.
So I see that as my mission, my call, my purpose. With the paper, in educating, elevating, and celebrating so that the community at large has something to feel proud of and to celebrate, but also the people that come into our doors and become part of our team.
Yeah. And one of the things I say that we had a person that has been with us for a little while, and at our Christmas gathering this past Monday, she said, I want to show you a short that I did the costumes on. I did the makeup and props and everything. But what she didn't tell us is that she also acted in it.
Oh.
And so this short that they did actually won multiple awards.
Nice.
And so she wanted the team to see the work and the things that she had learned by being with us, but also that she's now in the professional of winning category. This is what's so important about this, because as a young person, if you have a voice and you're writing stories, for you to have a column or a spot where every week what you write, what you research, or is going to make a difference and it's going to be in the paper, or you might be that behind the scenes person where you happen to do the day-to-day operations and making sure that the operations of distribution, and you might be the social media person.
Exactly.
There are so many different levels of jobs that you can get by working for media. And what our goal is to help our children and people that look like us and experience what we experience, to give them the inroads at a very young age, where they don't have to fight, because they will have their credits long before they have to look at any place else.
Yeah, and when they walk through the door, we already know who they are. They don't have to question whether they have value, because they have it walking in the door with us.
Yeah.
And we have award-winning staff now, that have that name to that title to their credit, who have written for the paper, young people. Now, of course, Dr. Warren and his late wife have tons of awards, right?
Yeah.
But the staff, the writers, so
the new people that you brought on and gave them an opportunity,
Exactly.
and they flourished. And then there's so many
took it
things,
and ran with it.
so many other things that you're having. You guys are adding drone shots and camera work, and it's just a lot that you can develop as being a part of media, especially with the San Diego Voice and Viewpoint. I did want to say this, and that is simply, as we begin to look at the closing of the show, let's talk about the editorial this week. I'm very, it's going to hit the stands tomorrow, and I'm going to go get it, because I want to see who all the awardees are. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm excited about it. I'm probably going to post it somewhere.
Well, that's still coming.
Okay, so that's
coming.
not this week?
No, but you'll find out. You'll find something out, though, that you're going to be excited about.
So wait a minute.
So we've already announced some of the awardees, but more are coming.
So you spoon feeding everybody.
Yes.
Oh, so they
You got to go to the paper.
I did hear that there's some special excitement that's going to blow people's mind.
Yeah.
But until it's announced, we can't talk about it.
That's right. But just know that if you don't get your tickets, you might miss out.
And let's be very candid. There's only 400 seats. There's only 400 seats. And every gala that we've been working on and everything, everybody's selling out. So it's only 400 seats. So I'm telling you, if you are one of the awardees, or if you know people, now's the time to get your tickets, because
that's right.
Here's the problem: is the week before, everybody and their mama is
Yep.
calling. Well, do you got to? Do you?
That's so
and,
true.
And we have to say to them, "We're sorry, but we sold out 2
That
weeks
is
ago."
so true. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we're giving you the heads up now.
Yep.
This
It's
year's
coming, folks.
gala is going to blow your mind.
Yep.
And we're ahead of the game. We done got artwork starting to be all the stuff because we're excited about this year. I'll end off with this. We got an octogenarian. Is it an octogenarian?
Octogenarian.
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 Yeah.
You
So
talking about Dr. Warren?
yeah. So we got an octogenarian that's going to be there. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about that in
All
his editorial.
generations,
Yeah.
all generations. And oh God, I'm remiss. There's so many editorials, right?
Yeah.
Just know that whatever his editorial, just make sure that you read it because it's going to blow your mind as it does every week when he breaks it down, which Dr. Warren does. So,
Yeah.
you'll see it. It's going to be in the paper. It's going to be online. Blow your mind information, as always, every week from Dr. Warren.
And rumor has it that he might be headed to TV this year coming up. And so I'm excited about that because there's so much knowledge that we have to get from him.
Yes.
I told him, look, I need about 20 more years out of you. 99 and a half won't do.
know.
You got to make it to that 100.
I know.
And let's have a good time. But what I do like about it is that he is building for the future. And I want to applaud you for stepping in the role as the managing editor and doing the work
you.
that you've been doing. Are we at the 5, 6, 7 year mark yet? Where are we at?
It'll be 8 years.
8
in February.
years. Wow.
February 2026, 8 years.
Man, I've been around for a minute, huh?
I know.
So
Yeah.
8 years,
Yeah.
and so and how far this paper has grown. When you first came in, Dr. Warren was in the office every day.
Yeah.
And now I call him. He says, "Oh no, they have it. I just stayed at home and worked from home." And that shows a level of comfort that he knows that the paper was going on and moving on, and he's literally building for the future so that the legacy of the San Diego Voice and Viewpoint will continue and be in good hands. I applaud you because you're literally doing the same, looking at that next generation
Absolutely.
that's coming behind you
Yes.
so that we can make sure that the legacy of the San Diego Voice and Viewpoint, the stories of the San Diego Voice and Viewpoint, and the what I call the upgrade, because y'all been doing a lot of upgrade.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
That and it's continue to give and give, and so I want to applaud you for your hard work. Even when it was tiresome, there were times that I would come to the office and you would still be there working late nights, and you'd be like, you need a break, and you would look at me, you need a break.
Yeah, it's
So-
24/7 sometimes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give you the final words.
Final words. Just make sure you get that ticket, that gala ticket. That's all I can say because it will sell out, and you do not want to be left behind.
Yeah, we should make some golden tickets. Like, get the golden ticket before everything else is bronze.
Definitely.
Well. This is from the Desk of the Editor with Dr. Warren in his absence, the very incomparable and talented managing editor, Miss Latanya West. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Like I said all the time, we got to have you back more and more and more. And we appreciate you. And thank you all for listening from the Desk of the Editor right here on GODRadio1.com.